shocking Wimbledon draw leaves tennis world speechless. Why Alex Eala could have just caught the biggest break of her career. What if I told you that one name in the Wimbledon draw has completely changed Alex Eala's chances of making a dream run? At first glance, many fans looked at the draw and simply saw Alex Eala vs Renata Zarazúa in the opening round. Nothing extraordinary, right? Wrong! Because when you look deeper, you realize something remarkable. Out of every dangerous unseeded player Alex could have faced, she may have landed one of the most favorable first-round matchups possible. That doesn't mean victory is guaranteed. Wimbledon has never been a place where anyone can relax. One bad service game, one nervous start, or one inspired opponent can completely flip a match. But compared to the nightmare scenarios that were waiting elsewhere in the draw, Alex Eala may have avoided almost every major landmine. So how lucky was this draw? Let's break it down. The first reaction from many tennis analysts was immediate. This is probably the opponent Alex would have wanted. And it's not difficult to understand why. Imagine if Alex had drawn Daria Kasatkina, one of the smartest tactical players on tour, and someone who has repeatedly shown how dangerous she can be on grass. Or what if she had faced former US Open champion Bianca Andreescu, who already has valuable grass court matches under her belt, and possesses the kind of all-around game that can trouble anyone? Either of those matches would have been considerably more complicated. Then there's Alicia Parks, whose explosive serve can completely dominate on faster surfaces. Alex also could have been paired with Qinwen Zheng, assuming she is fully healthy. Zheng's power and athleticism make her one of the toughest unseeded players in the tournament, and perhaps the most uncomfortable possibility of all, Barbora Krejcikova. The defending Wimbledon champion is the very player who knocked Alex out in the first round here last year. Nobody wanted to see that rematch happen so early. Alex also avoided several other dangerous names. Power hitters capable of ending rallies in just a few shots. Experienced veterans who understand exactly how to play on grass. Players with massive serves. Players who have beaten Alex before. Every single one of those names represented a significantly more dangerous opening round challenge. Instead, she drew Renata Zarazúa. Now before anyone misunderstands this, Renata is absolutely capable of producing quality tennis. She is an experienced professional, a fierce competitor, and someone who has earned every opportunity she's received on tour. This is not a free win. Far from it. But stylistically, surface-wise, and based on recent form, this matchup appears much more favorable for Alex than many of the alternatives. There is one statistic that immediately catches everyone's attention. The head-to-head, Zarazúa actually leads Alex 1-0. For some fans, that alone is enough to cause concern. But context matters. Their only previous meeting came roughly 2 years ago and went the distance over 3 competitive sets. Since then, Alex Eala has evolved dramatically. Her movement has improved. Her confidence has skyrocketed. Her ranking has climbed. Most importantly, her grass court game has reached an entirely different level. The player arriving at Wimbledon this year is not the same player who lost that match. Not even close. The biggest reason analysts are leaning toward Alex is simple: grass. When people think about Renata Zarazúa, they don't immediately think of grass courts. They think clay. That's where she has built most of her success throughout her career. Grass has never been her strongest surface, and her 2026 grass season reflects exactly that. She fought through qualifying in Bad Homburg with a pair of solid victories before losing in the main draw to Wang. Then came Berlin. Again she successfully qualified. Again she reached the main draw, and once again her tournament ended in the opening round, this time against eventual champion Linda Noskova. There is absolutely no shame in losing to a future champion. But the overall picture is clear. Zarazúa has struggled to build momentum on grass. Now compare that with Alex Eala's remarkable grass court campaign. The difference is almost impossible to ignore. Alex began her season earlier than many of the world's top players by entering the WTA 125 event in Birmingham. She didn't just perform well, she dominated. 5 straight victories, 5 straight confident performances, 1 championship trophy. She immediately announced to the tennis world that grass might actually become one of her best surfaces. Her record stood at 5-0. Then came Queen's Club. She defeated Zhang comfortably before running into rising star Linda Fruvirtofaa. Actually, another dangerous opponent ended her run, but even that loss showed flashes of high-quality tennis. Her overall grass record improved to 6-1. And then came Berlin. the tournament that truly changed everything. Alex stunned Wimbledon champion Elena Rybakina. She followed it by defeating Elena Svitolina, another player with outstanding grass court credentials. Suddenly, the tennis world wasn't asking whether Alex belonged. They were asking how far she could go. Although her run eventually ended against the tournament champion, she walked away having proven she could compete with the very best players in the world. By then, her grass court record had reached an astonishing 9-2. That's elite territory. Some people point to her recent defeat against Elise Mertens in Bad Homburg as a warning sign, but that result deserves context. Alex arrived after an exhausting stretch of tennis. Emotionally, physically, mentally, she had very little time to recover. Only days earlier she had produced one of the biggest weeks of her career. She had traveled. She had played high-pressure matches. She had also competed in doubles. Against Mertens, it looked like the tank was simply empty. She actually started well, but once momentum shifted, fatigue became impossible to hide. It felt less like Alex being outplayed, and more like a player finally running out of energy after weeks of outstanding performances. If those two met again at Wimbledon under equal conditions, the result could look completely different. Which brings us back to Monday's opening round showdown. Everything points toward Alex entering this match with confidence. She knows she's playing the best grass court tennis of her career. She knows the draw could have been much tougher. She knows she has momentum. And perhaps most importantly, she now believes she belongs on this stage. That belief changes everything. So what happens if Alex gets through? That's where things become even more fascinating. She would likely face the winner of Maya joint against Serena Williams. Yes, that's Serena Williams, one of the greatest champions the sport has ever seen. Her return has captured headlines around the world. Every practice session attracts crowds. Every interview becomes breaking news. The excitement is completely understandable. But from a purely competitive standpoint, the situation is more complicated. Serena hasn't played a women's singles match in several years. Her serve still looks dangerous. Her presence is still intimidating. Her experience is unmatched. But match fitness is something no practice session can replicate. Standing across the net is Maya joint. Although she hasn't enjoyed the best recent results, she's still an extremely capable young player. Her ranking has slipped after failing to defend valuable points. Confidence hasn't been at its highest, yet she's still competing regularly on tour. That match rhythm could prove crucial. If Maya can survive Serena's early serving bursts and extend rallies, the balance may slowly begin shifting in her favor. Experience versus match fitness. Power versus consistency. It's one of the most intriguing first-round contests in the tournament. As for Alex, the path is simple. Ignore the headlines. Ignore the predictions. Ignore the excitement surrounding Serena's comeback. Take care of business first. Because overlooking Renata Zarazúa would be a massive mistake. Every Wimbledon dream begins with winning round 1. Nothing beyond that matters until the first hurdle is cleared. Still, looking at current form, looking at confidence, looking at recent results, looking specifically at grass court performances, it's difficult not to like Alex Eala's chances. She enters Wimbledon playing the best tennis of her young career. She arrives with victories over elite opponents. She owns one of the strongest grass court records outside the very top seeds, and she appears to have received one of the most manageable opening round draws imaginable. Nothing is guaranteed in tennis, but if Alex performs anywhere close to the level we've seen throughout this grass season, a straight sets victory is certainly within reach. And if that happens, the rest of the draw should start paying very close attention. Because Alex Eala might just be ready to make Wimbledon history.